Welcome to How to Be Human, where we still talk about the ego. And well, we can't talk about the ego without talking about the ego trap. For those of you who have never heard the term before, it literally means that you are trapped by your own ego. Or, in other words, you are identified with a certain part of your personality. We frequently talk about ego traps in spiritual and religious circles, since overcoming the ego is often a prevalent part of these teachings. But it is not restricted to them, and you can pretty much find them anywhere where there is more than one person. There are some personality types or subpersonalities which are more prone to fall into the ego trap than others, namely, but not exclusively, experts, teachers, celebrities, and any kind of leaders, whether political, scientific, religious, or spiritual. A little note on the side here. This doesn't mean that they necessarily do fall into the ego trap. They just have more chances to do so. Most often, falling into the ego trap happens to people who choose a spiritual path and gather knowledge and deeper insights, or people who had a deeply personal awakening experience which created a sort of eureka or aha moment. Following that, they usually feel a need to share their insights with pretty much everybody, but that doesn't mean they have fallen into the ego trap yet. Telltale signs that someone has fallen into the ego trap are judgment. The trapped person feels more spiritual than others, and thus they believe they are entitled to lead and teach others, whether the others want it or not. Things they might say or believe are, others need my help, or due to my experience and my knowledge, I know the way, or my way is the only true way, and many other things and varieties of that. However, if somebody doesn't agree with them or doesn't see how spiritual they are, these people who are trapped in the ego trap get triggered and react emotionally with either anger, pity, sadness, or indignity. That doesn't mean that this person is a bad person or what they share is without value. On the contrary, they can be very compassionate and genuinely want to help change things for the better. However, they are still judging other people by seeing them as less spiritual, less enlightened, and often they also feel sorry for them. So they are prone to give unsolicited advice, ignore the less enlightened person's wish and need to walk their own path, and get upset if the other person doesn't do as they say. Nonetheless, and no matter how much we might love the person trapped in the ego trap, those people who are strongly identified with their own ego are sometimes really hard to deal with. One thing that helps me stay centered and from reacting emotionally myself is genuinely seeing the other person as a fellow soul on their own unique journey. In fact, I have made this a daily practice, and it has greatly helped me to overcome any need to judge others, and I do keep the power to decide how I want to react to something. So if you want to try that out, I can recommend it. So if you realize that you have fallen into the ego trap yourself, for example, you catch yourself by being triggered by someone's reaction to whatever great thing you just shared with them, don't worry, and please don't get angry with yourself. I mean, you just realized it. That's a good start. Just simply see what triggered you and use it as a guide to find out where you need more healing or reprogramming. And finally, if you have been on your spiritual journey and want to avoid falling into the ego trap, if you're a little worried about that, here are some tips that can support you. Feel free to pick any that resonate with you and just leave the rest. So here we go. Share your thoughts and insight without expecting others to accept or share them. Refrain from giving unsolicited advice. Remember that the way you gathered your insights is very personal and will not work for everybody. Always remain open to see things from another angle. Don't hesitate to adjust your beliefs if you gather new insights. And last but not least, regularly check your motivation to remain aware of the real reason you are following a spiritual path or practice. Thank you, wonderful soul, for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video. The ego trap is certainly a topic that I have to remind myself regularly to pay attention to. Please like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope to see you soon again. Until then, lots of love and light from my heart to yours.